create your own Nearpod, you'll need to go to the nearpod.com website, and in there you're going to log in as a teacher. So when I click on that, it gives you a choice of how you want to log in. Now at our school we always log in with the Google account. So I'm going to log in with Google. Now for me it has taken me straight there because I have been on it before, so it doesn't remember it for me. But for you it will probably take you to our Manresa login, and then it will take you back to Nearpod. So once we're in, it takes you to your library. We create your own Nearpod. So if I go into lesson in Nearpod, now there is a choice where you can create it in Google Slides, but I won't go into that today. I'm just going to go straight into the lesson in Nearpod. Now, just like any slides tool that you use, whether it be Google Slides or PowerPoint, it works by adding slides. So I'm going to add a slide, and you get 3 choices that you can choose from. The content, as we spoke of before. There is the web content. So if you want to get a web page that you want to insert in there, or an activity, or one of the many activities that we looked at previously. So if I'm going to go into content, it gives you a choice. Do you want a slide? Now at the beginning of my presentation, I probably do want a slide if I want to put a title for my presentation or my lesson. If I want to add a picture with my title, this is probably the best option for that. So I'll just start off with that one. And it automatically gives you a place for a title and a place for a picture or a video or a GIF file. So at the bottom, I might add a picture. So I might go into image or a GIF file. So a GIF is a bit nice because it's animated for the kids. So I might say, I might do a lesson on COVID-19. And all sorts of different GIFs come up that are related to that. Might put this one, click save, and you can make the picture smaller or bigger using that option there. Now to title, you just put whatever titles. I might say COVID-19, and there is my first slide. Once you're happy with it, you can click save and exit. Now at the bottom, before I keep going, you can also add audio to your slide. So if I want to add audio, I just click on audio, and if I have an audio file, I click on this one. If I want to record, I click on audio recorder. I record what I want. So this is going to be a lesson about COVID-19. Then when you're happy with it, you click pause and you can listen to it. So this is going to be a lesson about COVID-19. And then once you're happy with it, you can click save, and then it uploads it to that particular slide. Now on that slide, I can also change the background. So if I click on the background, I can pick a picture from YouTube that I want to put in, or they've got the themes on the side that I can choose from. So if I change it this way, and then I can also change the layout of my slide. So I might want to have 4 components on my slide. I might want to have 3. So maybe I would like to have a picture on one side, and maybe I can add text on the other side, or I can add a video on the other side, or another image. So there are options for the slide. Once you're happy with it, save and exit. Now again, I'm going to add another slide, so I'm going to add another component. Now this time I'm going to add some content, and as you can see, remember I said there was vocabulary videos. There is 3D images that you can look at closely, like the shark that we looked at before, or the lungs, the pet or the FET simulations that have science, and field trips like the 3D tour virtual reality trip that we took to Egypt. There's also some other things that I'm probably not going to look closely at, like graphing calculator, the BBC videos. As I said, there's a variety of videos there that you can choose from. Sway, which is another presentation tool, a Microsoft tool. If you've created a presentation or a slideshow in Sway, you can bring it into your Nearpod. Same again with slideshow. If you've created a slideshow, you can put it straight in there. And if you've got a video that's saved on your computer that you want to put in. Audio, again, if you've got an audio file. PDF, if you've got a PDF document that you want to insert in there, or live Twitter, which we probably won't use as much. So I'll just go with the PhET simulation to start. And when you go in there, it gives you a few categories. Now, there's not a great amount, but there is some that you can use. But if you just go in and you just click whichever one you want. So in maths, for example, they've got some activities that the kids can do. And then once you pick one and click done, it goes straight there as another slide. If I wanted to add a web page, I go into add content. You just simply paste the web page that you want. So I might do www.mathsplayground.com. You can choose to test the link if you're not really sure if it will work. And then once you're happy with it, click save. Now, when they're using the app, it does not take you outside of the app to look at the website. But if you are using a laptop, it does just link them to that website to go to on their normal browser. If I was to add another content, just to have a look at some more of them. In the field trip, again, they've got a few different places, so you can search up any destination you write. So let's write Great Barrier Reef. And this is the one for Australia. And now I can preview and have a look at what the students would be looking at. So that's the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. If you had VR glasses, you could look at it this way, but at the moment we don't have that just yet. Once you're happy with it, click done. Okay, now on to activities. And there's a number of activities. Time to climb is a timed quiz. So if you wanted to put a time limit on each part of your quiz, that you can do. Once you've created it like that, you can't turn it back into a normal quiz. You can only turn a normal quiz into a time to climb quiz. So having a look at the quiz, which is something most of us will probably be using, you just simply type in the question. So what day is it today? And then in the answers you can put Tuesday and so on. If you wanted to add more answers, you just click another answer, and then you simply click the answer that is correct, or you want the kids to get marked on as correct. If you have more than one answer, you can click more than one answer. There's also the option of adding a reference video or a picture. So if I wanted to go in there and I wanted to give a hint about, say for example, I was asking a question about COVID-19 and I wanted to put a video that explains COVID-19 before I do so, I can do that. Or I can put a voice recording that can explain more about the quiz if I wanted to. Okay, once you're happy with the quiz, now we want to add more questions. So after this is can add an answer, this is to add another question. So I'm going to add all the questions I need till I'm finished. It won't let you proceed till you have ticked a correct answer in each question. If you don't want the question anymore, you can just click on the trash can at the top. If you wanted to duplicate a question because it's really close and you're just changing a few words, you just click duplicate. So once I'm happy with it, and I'm going to click save. Let's look more about the activity slides. So I can also put in an open-ended question. Again, you're just writing in a question and they answer it, in which case you'll have to correct it yourself. Matching pairs, so basically if I go into that, all you have to do is put a picture into each. So I'm going to add a pair. I can put text or an image, so based on what you want to do. So I might put 1, I might put 4 on 4, and then I can add another pair. I might say 3/4, 12 16s. And once I'm happy, I click done, and that's what they say here. You'll put all the instructions for them to follow. Then I'm happy with it. I click save. Let's go try another one, another activity. You might want to have a poll. So sometimes you just want to ask them a question to see if they know something or if they're aware of something. Again, it looks basically like a quiz. I won't show that quickly. The Draw It tool, like we showed before, if you want them to draw something or demonstrate how to add something, for example, you simply put the instructions there. Show how you can multiply 2-digit numbers by each other. And then they'll be able to put it, if you click save, it will just give them a blank canvas. If you wanted to put an image for them to upload onto, you could do that as well by simply searching in Google and say, for example, I want a blackboard. And that will put that as an image for their background. And they can do their explanation there. Then I click save. Okay, let's look at a couple more activities. And this is the part that makes it really interactive for the kids and they really like it. If you wanted to do a fill in the blanks like we did before, again, it asks you to put your text here, so the entire paragraph or entire page that you wanted them to fill in the blanks for. You can either copy that and paste it from another document, or you can type your own. You could change the color of the background if you liked. And once you're happy with it, then what it will do, you click next, and then it will ask you to click the words that you want to move. And these will be blacked out on the actual quiz. One more that's really important. Memory test is something if like the flip the cards game, the memory games, the card games that you buy off the shelf, but you can put whatever you want in there. The other one that's really good is the Collaborate tool, which some of you may have used. It looks a bit like a Padlet actually, so not very different at all. You basically put the topic, so you can insert a picture in there. If I click on it, it will let me choose, and then you can choose the background that you like for your collaboration. Once you're happy with it, you click save. Now, just a note on that Collaborate, if you are doing the course from home, in your settings, you'll need to activate the collaboration on the student-paced course, which I'll show you in a little bit. So once you're happy with that, you might want to end it with another slide. Up the top, you've got the control, the copy and paste option. So if there's a slide that you wanted to duplicate for any reason, so you might have this slide, for example, I might want to duplicate it. So I might say copy, and then I click paste. It does the exact same copy, and I might want to put that to end my presentation, so I can also drag and drop where I want it to be. So that could be my beginning and the end. Now, once you're happy with it and you've put as many slides as you would like, you can choose to preview it so you can have a look at what it looks like, or you can save and exit to keep it in your library. But before I do that, I need to give it a name. That way it's a lot clearer to find your lessons when you need them. So I might just call it T2PL, practice. And then, so now once I've done, I'm going to click save and exit. Now, once I've clicked save and exit, it goes straight into my library. Usually the last one you've done is right at the top, which makes it easier for you. To share that with your students, there are two ways you can do that. If you're having a live lesson in your classroom, that's what we would be doing. But because of the circumstance at the moment, you will have to use the student paste option. Now, when you're sharing it this way, once you click on student paste, it gives you a code. That's the code you would give your students, and they'll be able to enter that into the Nearpod website or app that they're using. As you can see at the bottom, there's other ways you can share that link. If you've got them in a Microsoft Team or a Google Classroom, that's the way you can do it. But as I've mentioned before, there is a way we can integrate it into Canvas, which you can see in the next part of the module, which makes it a lot easier than having to create a code that expires in 29 days. So once you've done that, basically you just click the X, that session is activated, that code will be active for 29 days. The other thing that you might want to do is you might want to share with teachers. So if I click on that and I click share with teachers, you can either share the link to the actual presentation, in which case they can save that into their library and edit it and use it, or you can email it to a particular teacher as well. Because we have a school account at school, we can choose to add it to the school library. So if I click on the three dots, go to add to, I can add it to the school library, in which case you can share it with your school team. Now, if you recall, we looked at the collaborate feature and I said you had to turn something on in your settings for it to work in student paste. So on the right hand side, there'll be your icon, and next to your name, there'll be a little cog. If I click on that cog, and I go down, not to the profile, but advanced settings, there's a whole lot of new features that have been added, including immersive reader, enable student notes, which are automatically on, which I believe you can only use if you are using it in a browser, not in the app. However, the one I'm talking about is the enable collaborate for student paced lessons. You have to make sure that that's turned on, as I do at the moment. Now, one more thing I need to show you that's quite important is how do you access those results once you're in, once you've finished your lesson. So at the end of a lesson, or when you would like to, at the bottom of your home page, there is reports. Now in the reports, if I click on reports, it takes you to all the Nearpods that you have run and the report on how those students performed. So if I go to an older one of mine, it shows you I had 5 sessions running on the same lesson. It tells me how many students were in each session. And if I click on one of them, it shows me the results like this. Okay, so it shows you what they got and it shows you how many of the slides they completed for each student. And this was basically an assessment where I had a quiz. So if you want to go to the quiz, it shows you what were the questions. I didn't have a poll, I've only had the quiz. I had a collaborate slide, so I can have a look at the slide and to see what they've written on it in the collaborate. Now if I go into summary, as you can see, it gives you an overall view of how many participated or skipped it and how many got correct answers And now once you've opened up your results, you've got a choice. You can either share the results with another teacher by emailing them, or you can download your results in a CSV file or an Excel file. So that's usually easy to be able to manipulate the data that you've received, or you can just get a PDF of that information in that particular way. Now you are ready to move on to the third part of the module, which is how to integrate Nearpod into Canvas. And I believe that could be applied across the whole school.